All right, thanks for joining me today. This is my investment challenge, so it's part of my my dividend um, YouTube channel, discovering my dividends. Um, and so I'm turning $50 a month into 1 million. That's my investment challenge, is to make $1 million as soon as possible. Right now, I'm on track to do that in less than 7 years. So last year I earned 30% on my trades, and I'm on track to reach the 1 million in less than 7 years. So that's really the the goal that I'm after. Now I didn't have 30% is not that great overall, but I had a couple really good months that bumped me ahead early on. And so then when I kind of leveled out and maybe didn't do as well, the 30% kind of shows that, but it's still um, compounded and got me to where I wanted to be at the end of 2025. Now, after working at a bank, I had numerous investment courses in trading. I traded stocks, options. I'd peddled mutual funds through the different companies I worked for. Now, I decided I could actually do better trading stocks on my own than following what these companies were doing with their mutual funds. Now, I'm not saying that I'm an expert or um, the people working for them were wrong. I'm just saying, based on what they offered for mutual funds, I was better off on my own to trade on my own. So I created a 1% strategy. Obviously, I had taken a lot of time and tried a lot of different things. So my strategy largely was based off of a lot of things that I saw that did work and didn't work. And then I kind of just broke it down. I want to make $1 million and I want to do it in this period of time. And how can I do that? And yeah, I set up a spreadsheet to do that, and that worked out. Now, just a disclaimer here, I'm no longer an advisor. This is not advice, and I'm simply sharing my experience. So if you need an advisor, go see an advisor. If you're unsure what to do with your trading account, don't use this stuff. It's what I'm doing for my portfolio, right? So I don't want you to be confused and say, this is what I told you to do, because this is actually just more what I'm doing. Now, here's the thing. Once I determined that I wanted to make $1 million, I figured out how much I could invest regularly, how much risk I wanted to take. And then I broke out the spreadsheet, which I've already mentioned. I determined I could make a quick 1% trades on a regular basis. So I started trading and just like getting gains. And first I started going, okay, I'm gonna buy a whole bunch of shares at 1% gain on really penny stocks, and doing that. I realized the penny stocks, if I end up not being able to sell them, too much risk there. If I end up holding them, there's no dividends. And so I kind of went through a lot of different phases. And the 1% trades were easier to determine than if I was doing like swing trading, or like a Warren Buffett will hold stocks for a long period of time and try and get a lot of value that way. I'm not going to put in the time needed to really investigate the stocks deeply enough to be certain that I'm going to get my 30 to 40%, and I'm not really good at determining what the bottom is and determining what the top's going to be. So to get a 20 to 40% trade in 6 months or less is not really going to be my forte. So the 1% stock was a lot easier to kind of see and determine. And looking at quality stocks, I felt like I could find that little niche with the 1%. Now I can easily make 5% a week if I'm doing this fairly close to what my strategy wants, right? Because there's always room for error, but I try and reduce the error as much as possible. And one of the things I did last year, which stopped me from getting my 5% a week, was I was buying stocks as they dropped, but I'd try and jump in so I could get that quick gain, like the turnaround in like the next hour or something. And of course, so many times I bought the stock and then it'd go down again further. This happened way more times than I'm willing to admit. But that's one of the risks. So I ended up holding it longer, and it did come up eventually, but I didn't get the 24, 48 hour turnover. So when things are moving slow and backwards, it may take up to 6 to 8 weeks. And this is what happened a lot to me, 6 to 8 weeks to make that 1%, whereas I'm trying to make the 1% a day, which is to really optimize my strategy. And on average, I'm probably making more to 2 to 3% a week. So that's still half decent. The 3% keeps me in line for that 1 million, 2% kind of, yeah, it takes me out of it. Now, when I get enough 5% a weekday weeks going on, it averages out with the 2% weeks, but obviously having 3% or more is better. So here's what it is. I would rather have a trade for 1% as often as possible than have the potential upside, and have the potential upside. Although last year was a strong 3% performance, I believe I can do better. So 2026, my goal, that there's a lot of room for improvement here. My goal is to shoot for 35% or more. Now that's still not where I think I can be, but realistically, if I hit 30% this year, obviously I haven't perfected how to do the trades as often, and I definitely need to have a better eye for it. But the strategy I'm using is sound. It seems to be working, but to hit 35%, I have to be far more consistent with the actual follow through. So anyways, I hope you'll click subscribe and like here. Follow along, see how I'm doing with my trading, and see if my investment challenge actually keeps me going towards $1 million. And if you are looking for a broker, I use WealthSimple for all my trades. I have no fees and it's easy to use. I have a link down below. Now, they're not sponsoring me, and I'm not necessarily promoting them, but I do use them and I like them. So if you are looking for an online broker, click that link. We both get a reward, and if you don't like him, try someone else, right? Now, my next video, I'm going to be sharing with you how 2026 started and what I hope to improve. Because there are lots of things that I can improve. Even though I've done this strategy for now the 4 years, there's not just you set up a strategy and there it is, voila. There's also the execution of it. So there's lots of things that I feel like I want to improve on the execution, and I'm going to share that with you in the next video. So thanks for joining. We'll see you next time.